Tanei, the science guy. What's going on? Hoteps Jesus, what's going on, man? What's going on with you, man?
Hey, you know me, I'm just over here stressing because we had to get some new software. It's looking all right though, right? Everybody hear us good in the chat. Type one in the box if we looking good in the chat. It looks good to me over here. You know, I'm just happy it's Thursday. I love Thursdays, man. Another episode of Hoteps been told you, man.
Yo, you know what I've been doing, man? This is slightly off topic. I've been watching Dragon Ball Z, man. I felt left out, you know, because I'm seeing all you younger cats talk about Dragon Ball Z. So I was like, let me give fun and animation, whatever the app's called. Let me give you $5. And I started watching Dragon Ball Z. And this guy he been running down Dragon Way for half a season, man. I'm sick of that, man.
Wait. What episode are you on? Who?
Oh, I'm like on 39 now. They had the big fight at the end of the season. You know, that's the episode I'm on now. But, you know, I'm feeling culture. I had to get cultured up because I got to talk to you, got young black men now.
We got to see what saga you on. You might be on the Cell saga. You might be on the Boo saga, or the Cell Game saga. It's a lot of saga. We got to find out where you at in the storyline.
Anyway. We'll get back to that later. Tanei, we gotta introduce Tanei. Tanei, somebody says Tanei the hairline guy. So they already know about you, man. We'll get to the hairlines later. But we got Tanei on, I always talk about black folks with them papers on the wall. You know, a lot of times the papers on the wall be like, gender studies and stuff like that. But he's got the real papers on the wall, some official, PhD type stuff. Tonight, what's going on? Tell me about yourself. What's going on?
What's good, man? I appreciate y'all having me on. Hotep Nation held me down from the jump, so I appreciate y'all having me on. I am Dr. Tanei Riggs. Get it right.
Talk.
Yeah, Tanei Riggs, PhD chemistry, organic chemistry specifically. Study at the interface of chemistry and biology. Graduate of University of Tennessee, Knoxville, class of 2017. Go Balls! And here to chop it up with y'all, man. It's good.
Yo, Hoteps Jesus, what was you talking about on Rogan, man? What was you talking about that soy? What was you talking, man?
Yeah, so what we have is some conflict between phytoestrogens in the human body, and people had some things to say about what I had to say. But today we have the expert who could break down why soy is bad for you and what it's doing to our bodies.
Man, so all right, so soy is a double-edged sword. I'm gonna start off by saying that because you have a lot of older Chinese cultures and East Asian cultures that have fermented soy products as a staple in their diets, and they're not seeing some of the effects that a lot of people now that consume like these processed soy products are seeing. That being said, soy does contain what's called phytoestrogens. So soy, it's three compounds. They're called isoflavones. Isoflavones mimic estrogen activity in the body, which basically means that they act like estrogens in the body. And overconsumption of them, especially for men.
Tanei, talk up a little bit. The chat said they can't hear you too well.
Okay, let me turn this up. All right, so can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, good. So soy is a double-edged sword because soy and these phytoestrogens that are in soy specifically, there's three kinds. They're called isoflavones. Isoflavones are phytoestrogens. They do act on alpha type estrogen receptors. However, they're also antioxidants. So there's been a craze within the last probably 10, 15 years where people talk a lot about antioxidants and, reducing oxidative stress. And because of the molecular structure of these isoflavones, they also act as antioxidants, which means that they're free radical scavengers. So if you have any kind of free radical reactive oxygen species within your body, these soy isoflavones can actually capture those electrons and keep them from damaging the cells further in your body. Now, the problem with this, obviously, is that because it has dual activity, when you have other antagonists in the environment, they begin to have a synergistic effect, which means that these two things they come together and they start to amplify each other, right? So when you look at the xenoestrogens and plastics, so you talk about the bisphenol A that's in all these plastic bottles, and everybody has all these plastic water bottles, plastic soda bottles, things like that. And then they talk about BPA being in can lining. So if you eat canned foods, you eat anything that comes out of a can, some of these cans have BPA inside of the lining. So when you actually pour the food out, it already has BPA leached into your food. So, and then there's other xenoestrogens in the environment that come as a result of industrial processes. So also birth control pills. Birth control pills are another xenoestrogen that's not talked about at all, even though it really should be, because a lot of it's poison in the water supply. So when you take all of these things together and realize that all of them are acting on estrogen receptors, people want to single out soy. It's not just soy. The other part of this too is that the majority of the soy that's produced in the United States is genetically modified. It's Roundup ready. So it's constructed in such a way, the molecular structure is made in such a way that is used to resist glyphosate that's in Roundup. So everybody's been hearing lately about the big settlements with Monsanto dealing with glyphosate causing cancer. So and one of the things that happens when you have overabundance of glyphosate in your body, it causes wide scale oxidative stress, which leads to cancer. So there's the soy argument is very, very nuanced. If you were to ask me if you should consume it, no. Like generally, no, I'm going to say you shouldn't. However, there is record of other cultures consuming it with no problem. It's because of their preparation methods. At the same time, the majority of people that are eating the soy now, they're not eating it that way. So it's going to cause the damage that people think that it caused. On top of it being pesticide laden, any kind of other chemicals that may be going on, plus the other xenoestrogens that are in the environment, the other chemicals that you have to worry about that are causing these issues, they're also having an effect with the soy as well. So it's not just the soy, but the soy is a big part of it because of all the chemicals that they put with and all the chemicals that are already in the environment. So the average person would do well with staying away from soy, but it is a deeper argument than just saying, oh, this is soy. Like soy has become a meme on our side of the internet, but it's like, when you really break down the science, you do see that there are a lot of research papers out there that show that there are actual health benefits for soy, that they tested men and women. So it's a deeper argument than just saying, oh, there's phytoestrogens in it, so it has to be bad. Because take, for example, a herb like milk thistle. Milk thistle is an excellent liver purifier, but it also has phytoestrogens in it. But you don't ever hear anybody talking about phytoestrogens in that, because the overall net effect of that herb is going to be purifying and cleansing for your body. So it's really about how is it being balanced in your body. And for the average person, there's too much between the plastic, the birth control pills, the food, and the soy, and the herbicides and pesticides. It has a synergistic effect, and then all those things compound on top of each other. And then, they just point the finger at soy when it's a much more nuanced argument.
So you're saying the Western people don't know how to cook soy? Basically, that's what you're saying. You're saying these Western cats don't know how to cook this shit. If you don't know how to cook it, leave this shit alone.
Yeah, and a lot of people are eating the processed soy, and when you eat the processed soy, you also have to realize too that there are other chemicals inside of processed food. You got the preservatives. A lot of these preservatives they cause oxidative stress. I mean, they also have phytoestrogenic activity. And then, all of the processed stuff is full of Roundup. So, I mean, you have so many things, especially with like these meat alternatives and like, these vegan, these soy nuggets and all that stuff. It's you might as well just eat chicken if you're gonna eat a soy nugget. Like, just being honest. Like, there are a lot of people that they'll eat the meat substitutes and thinking that they're doing better for themselves. And when you start looking at the back of the package, it's like, damn, you might as well just eat whatever animal this is trying to mimic, So it's just, you just gotta. This is more about staying away from the processed soy than anything. If you're consuming soy that's traditionally made like it is in Asian cultures, then generally it's gonna be fine for you. And also, those people don't eat a lot of it. Like they don't eat like the soy every single day. So I mean, it's just like a lot of other things. Like
so basically, what I took away from all of that is, if you a black male in America, soy turns you into Don Lemon.
Don turns you into Don Lemonade. Don Lemonade. So yeah, I mean, like I said, as a whole, you want to stay away from it, especially the processed stuff. But there is another side to the argument where you can say that the chemicals that are in some soy products actually do have some protective and restorative effects for the body, especially when it comes to oxidative stress.
So some people were talking about, like, how come it doesn't bother the Asians? I know that if you ferment soy, it changes its properties.
Yeah.
And soy sauce happens to be a fermented version of soy. So, people have asked me, is soy sauce okay? Yeah, soy sauce is prepared properly. But like Uncle Hotep said, this is a Western world that doesn't know how to utilize this plant in its proper form.
Right. I mean, and even like the soy sauce that's here now, like it's super processed. Like all that stuff is it's the Monsanto soybeans, and it's a bunch of salt. I mean, it's just not prepped the same way.
Word.
Hey, tonight, this is 2019, and we're in this racial charged world, whatever. You're in a field where I'm gonna ask you. I'm assuming you might not see a lot of people that look like you. Did you ever have any difficulties in your trek? Because it's like being a doctor. Let me get that straight. We're Dr. Tanei over here. You had a long road to your to get that title. You know what I'm saying? So what was some of your journey to get that that certificate, that paper on the wall? What difficulties you had being a black man doing that?
So the ironic thing is that, like, it's not even hanging on my wall. It's like it's somewhere in storage in my apartment. Like it's not hanging up. It's got dust on it. I have no idea what my degree is. I really don't. But I don't know, it's interesting. A lot of people don't. This is actually a question that I rarely get, and is a question that sometimes I feel like I should get more often. But my experience in STEM and getting a PhD was really different. And it was really highlighted when I began to look for jobs after I graduated. It was really hard for me to find a job when I graduated, even though the work that I did in graduate school was really good. And one of the things that I try to tell people now when they think about getting a higher level degree or getting a terminal degree is to make connections, because your connections are more important than the work that you do a lot of times. Like there are a lot of people that I know personally that were at UT when I was there, and they're liable to blow some shit up in lab. But they have jobs now. But they have jobs because they're connected. Their supervisors are connected. The people that they're in lab with are connected. So you really, when you're going to college is about making connections, and it's even more pronounced on the terminal degree level. Now, if you go in and you publish 3 or 4 papers and they get in some high impact journals, people are just gonna naturally find you. But for somebody like me, I only have one first author paper. Even though I did a ton of work in grad school. Like you can read my dissertation. My dissertation is 220 pages total, but about 130 pages of that is like research and background, like stuff that I actually did myself. So I did a lot of stuff in grad school. It just wasn't published. There's a lot of things that are still in the works, and there's a lot of people that are still carrying on the research that I did while I was there. So you really have to. I think the thing that I wish that I had understood when I went in was that A, there's actually a surplus of PhD chemists, and B, your job prospects are heavily dependent on how many connections you make, and it's very difficult to make connections when there's not a lot of people that A, look like you, that have been through that situation, and B, people are just willing to help you in general. So I didn't make a lot of friends when I did my PhD. I made a lot of enemies when I did my PhD, because it was hard for me to relate to a lot of people that were there. I mean, I'm in the foothills of Appalachia, essentially. I up until high school, I went to school in predominantly black schools, and I had mostly black friends. That changed when I got in high school, and then when I went to high school, undergrad, and then grad school, all of that changed. So it was a little bit of a shock, and it's hard. Like, a lot of these people have a built-in advantage because they already have connections, right? They already have these connections to different places, and I made it doubly hard on myself because the disciplines that are known in that area, specifically in the East Tennessee area, are physical chemistry, analytical chemistry, and that's because of Oak Ridge National Lab. Oak Ridge National Lab is funded by the Department of Energy, and because of that, a lot of their experiments have to do with things that produce energy and trying to have renewable energy sources. So that was an area of chemistry that I actually studied. So that just made it a little bit harder for me to find jobs, find prospects, relate to people. So it was a little bit harder for me when I got out. So I had to do a little bit more hustling when I got out, and that's kind of why I am where I am now. And but at the same time, it was a gratifying experience. I learned a lot from it. And now when people ask me, what should I do? And I'm like, honestly, you really don't need a PhD now. Like, it's cool to have the letter clout. It's cool to have the ego. But outside of that, it's not really going to do anything for you. I mean, you learn how to research just as much as the average PhD chemist does as a master's, but you're more equipped for the job market now. A lot of places now, they don't want PhDs. They want master's level people because they know you can do the work, but they're not taking on as much risk hiring a PhD chemist versus a master's level chemist. So there's a lot that goes into that. But I think that if there were more programs put into place for Black people specifically to thrive in these programs, it would be great. And you have a lot of universities, especially like Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi. It's a predominantly Black school. If people were to actually put resources into that school, there are a lot of bright kids down there, but the area is really poor. So it's hard to say that these people can be successful if they don't have the resources. So I think it's on us to really put the resources in that area so that these people and these students can thrive and become another generation of good scientists.
I feel you, man. Like, do you think that's something that we should be targeting in the community? Like, do we have enough rappers? Can we get some more chemists? You know what I mean? In the neighborhood.
The thing is, we have a lot of chemists. There's actually a society of Black chemists called NOBACHE. It's the National Organization of Black Chemists and Chemical Engineers. So there are people.
Is that the Illuminati? Is that part of the Illuminati?
Offshoot of the Boule? Nah, man, nah. It's not the Illuminati, but it's an official organization with that has those degrees in there. But it's a national organization. They have a national meetup every year, and there are a lot of people that show up there. The unfortunate thing is that you realize that a lot of these people are spread out. They're not condensed in one area, and that's what I really feel like is needed, is for a lot of these people to be in the same area so they can work with each other.
Okay, yeah, that's cool, man. Well, carry on the fight for Black academia, but somebody already said this about about your hairlines. You've got quite a following. People came in there and talking about, hey man, that's the hairline guy, man. You thing. You're saving men all over the world, saving their hairlines. I seen the pictures. Tell us about your hairline hustle.
The hairline hustle. Okay, so back in April, I had one of my followers hit me, and he was like, yo, man, I need you to help me regrow my hair. I'll pay your regular consultant fee. Like, I don't care. Like, whatever you need to do, like, just help me get my hairline back. My consultant fee is $150 an hour. So I'm like, all right, I'll help you, you know, and whatever. I mean, because obviously hair is not a problem that I have, right? So I'm just like, okay, you know, I'll look at some stuff and I'll kind of figure it out. So I started looking through a couple journals, start looking through like some peer review research, and you know, I know how to find papers without paying for them. So it was pretty easy for me to like find papers that were relevant and do the research on them, do the knowledge on them, do my Googles. So I do that, and I start noticing that there are a lot of journals that are only talking about the same thing. You got these journals that say, oh, DHT is the problem, DHT buildup in the scalp. And the more I keep reading, I'm like, man, this is bullshit. DHT has to be a symptom of something else. Like, there's no way that your body's just overproducing DHT for no reason. So okay, let me dig a little bit deeper, see what's going on. And I always had suspicions that, you know, a lot of the mainstream narrative that's pushed about hair loss, and you know, oh, after you get to a certain age, your hair's just gonna start falling out, and you know, you can't beat genetic pattern baldness in your family. And so I'm like, okay, well, when people talk about epigenetics, I mean, we already know that we can turn certain genes on and turn certain genes off. So I mean, and a lot of that is mediated through the environment, what you're exposed to every day. So it's like, okay, let me keep doing a little bit more research. So what I found was for hair loss specifically, there are four things that always overlap. You have stress, you have weak genes, you have chronic inflammation, and you have environmental toxicity. So, you know, a lot of people, you know, when you have people that are cancer patients when they go through chemotherapy, their hair starts falling out. So I'm like, okay, so that must mean there's a toxin inside of your body that's making your hair fall out. That makes sense. So what if there are other toxins in the environment that are making this happen? Then I started looking at chronic inflammation, because people always talking about Dr. Sebi and talking about inflammation and mucus being at the root of most disease. So I'm like, all right, well, what if inflammation is the cause of hair loss? And it is. When people have alopecia areata, a lot of people think that alopecia is incurable, but alopecia is caused by chronic inflammation. So if you have chronic inflammation, if you stop the chronic inflammation, theoretically, it should also stop hair loss. Then you look at weak genes. Genes you can't do a whole lot about because you inherit them from your parents, but you can begin to change them on the micro level by changing what you do on a daily basis. And then the stress, you can also change your stress levels, you know, being more mindful of things that you're doing and things that you are allowing yourself to be stressed out by. So looked at all those things. I put together a little regimen for him. I was like, here, do this for a month, and then check back with me and we'll go from there. So I randomly get a DM from him probably about a month later, and he showed me the results. And he went from his hairline was probably receded probably about 2 centimeters on both sides. And most of it had grown back in a month. And I'm like, are you sure that these are your pictures? Are you sure you didn't Photoshop this, or this is your hair, right? And he was like, yeah, man, like I couldn't believe it. Like my girl couldn't believe it. Like she used to crack jokes at me, and now she's like, damn, babe, your hairline look good now. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. All right, so this literally happened in a month. And he's like, yeah, it's happened in a month. So I'm like, huh, okay, well, that worked better than I expected it to work. So let's see if somebody else might need it. And I put it on the timeline. DMs just started flooding in. Everybody was like, yo, we saw the pictures. We need help, dog. So it's just like, it just kind of took off, man. And, you know, I'm still selling it. I still got a lot of people that you know, having success stories. I mean, I'll be fully transparent. There's some people it's not working for. I have a couple of clients, their growth is really slow, and I've seen their before pictures, and they had heads full of hair, and then their hairlines are coming like receding back this way. And you know, it's hard to figure out exactly what the cause of hair loss is for specific people, because I can't run tests like that. I don't have a lab. If I could actually pinpoint exactly what it is, but because the regimen is focused on 4 different things, or it has 4 different elements to it, and is focused on reducing those 4 things, at some point I'll find something that works. That's why I tell people, you know, just to be patient, and you know, regardless of, you may not get the fast results that Ant did, because Ant started getting results within 3 weeks. I have other people that have gotten results within 3 weeks too. The hell, there's some people that get results within a week. So I'm just like, okay, it's working, But for some people, it is a little slow, and I'm fully transparent about that. But I also tell you that I'll work with you until you get the results that you want. I'm still testing different oils, still testing, different quantities, and trying to find something that works for other people. Because one thing I have realized is that there's not a one size fits all for everybody. Everybody's native biochemistry is different. So you have to work with that and understand that some things are going to work better for other people than they are for others, and then just be adaptable to that, and then set the expectation for the client to also be adaptable for that. The good thing about setting it at a high price point is that, for one, it's cheaper than any hair loss surgery that you would ever have. Most hair loss surgeries start at like $3,000, so $200 is a steal. And plus, even at that high price point, the average person that buys it, they're not going to give me a lot of grief about it, because they understand, like, okay, this is going to take time. This is an investment. They're not pissy about it after 2 weeks. Like, man, why my hair ain't grew back? Like, I've been bald for 40 years and my hair didn't grow back tomorrow. It's like, it's not supposed to. Like, what did you think was going to happen? Like, I can't predict that all of this is going to grow back at one time. Only thing I can tell you is that if you be patient and you continue working the program, you'll see some results. I don't have anybody that has not seen any results. I have people that see slow results, but I don't have anybody that has not seen any results. So that's a sign that I have to continue tweaking. For some people, the regimen just works outright and is good and their stuff grows back. That's generally what people that still have a lot of their hair but are just thinning in spots. So if you have a little bit of crown balding, if your hairline's receding a little bit, but the majority of the rest of your hair is growing, these are the clients that are seeing the best results. The clients that are seeing the worst results are the people whose hairlines have receded, and it's been like that for years. So you have somebody that used to have a head full of hair, their hairline has been slowly receding for probably about the past 5 or 6 years. Those are the people that are seeing the least amount of results. And I think that that's because we're trying to reverse a bunch of stuff at one time, because it takes a lot for your hair to stop growing. You have to think about what hair is. Hair is a receiver and a transmitter. When you think about what hair actually is, so like, think about the whiskers on a cat. If a cat lost its whiskers, it wouldn't be able to sense how to walk in between objects, because when it brushes against something, it tells the cat, all right, there's something right here, there's something right here, you can't bump into this. So when you actually think about what hair is, you're not supposed to lose it. Even when we talk about code talkers, the Native Americans, I forget which World War it was, but the code talkers, they would never cut their hair. And that's because it helped them hear better, because your hair can actually pick up different vibrations, pick up different frequencies. So with having an extension like that, that's not supposed to be something that you easily lose. That's why you have a lot of people that grow in the old age that have very, very long hair. That you're not supposed to be prematurely balding. You're really not supposed to be balding at 17, 18, 19, like some people out here. That's indication of something seriously being wrong in the environment with your body if your hair is falling out like that. So I have a lot of people that have been getting good results. They've been working the program. I keep working with them, and I mean, I never expected it to blow up like this, but I mean, people are getting help, and I'm just glad I'm able to help people.
Indeed. Hey, Hoteps, you got anything else for tonight?
Nah, man, thank you. I appreciate you for coming through. Like I told y'all, man, Hoteps got scientists in the stash, man. We coming with all types of crazy shit, man. So don't think we ain't brush up on our studies. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Tanei, tell everybody where to find you and everything else about your hairline.
You can find me on Twitter. At TJRiggs_TSP. I should probably change that handle. That was from one of the segregationist papers days. I don't think that podcast is coming back. It might, but I don't think it is. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter. I'm not super active on a lot of other social media. I am on Instagram. It's Tanei the Science Guy on Instagram. But generally you find me on Twitter. I'm on Twitter, just doing whatever, tweeting whatever I feel like. The hair link is actually in my pinned tweet on my account. It's also in my bio. If you have any questions about that, you can either DM me on Twitter. You can click the link. The link has all the information that you need. It also has a frequently asked questions section that's about 10 questions long. I add questions as I get them. And you can also reach me at via email, info@taneitheScienceGuy.com if you have any questions about that, or if you just want to chop it up about anything. I get a lot of people emailing me and DMing me about being in STEM. You know, a lot of Black people that are anxious about wanting to do that. So if you just want some kind of life advice, you just need an ear to talk to or something like that, hit me up.
Swaggy.
Hey, Tanei, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, appreciate y'all having me.